Hey guys, this is our last video lesson. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I'm sad that I'm not here with you guys in person for the last one. But we're going to look at 11.7. We didn't have time to do much in chapter 11, but I just wanted you to at least see the equation of a circle. So we talked about the great circle recently in a sphere, so we're just going to jump and look at the equation for a circle. I know in algebra you've done the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b, and then sometimes you've even done these charts where, like, if you plug in, let's say you have this, if you plug in 1, you would get 5 for y, and then if you did 2 and you kept doing it, and then you would plot the actual line on a graph. A circle does have an equation, even though it's not like a line, but the equation represents the distance from the center of the circle that all the points are. So you are going to have x and y, and then the circle, they call it h and k, the center of the circle. I'm not quite sure why, but the radius is the same all around this circle. And it's the distance between the edge of the circle and the center of the circle. So the way we can write the equation is we're going to write the distance formula from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle. So the center we're going to call h and k, and then any spot on the edge we're going to call x and y. So it could be over here, x and y, it could be over here. It just represents any spot on the circle. So if you remember from a long time ago, the distance formula is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1. And then these are both squared. What we're going to do is the distance is from one point to the other. So our points are, we'll call our x2 will be our x on the edge of the circle, and our x1 is the h, which is the center of the circle. So you can still call x2 and x1 if you want. It's just this one is on the edge of the circle, and that is the distance then to the center of the circle. So we're using h and k. And then again, the edge of the circle, the distance from the edge to the center. So k is the center. And then that distance, often we write it, since it is from the center to the edge, is the radius. So it's a little confusing because it looks like diameter. And so they'll just write r for radius instead of d for distance, because people might get it confused with diameter. So this right here is your formula for a circle. It is the distance from the center to the edge. And then some people leave it like that. Some people square both sides and write it like this, so they don't have to have that big old square root. So either way works. I think this one that I highlighted in pink is what I tend to see more often. So that is the distance from the center of a circle to an edge. So you've seen y equals mx plus b for the equation of a line. This is our equation for the distance from the center to the edge of the circle. I just wanted to throw this up. We looked at last semester distances from the center to the edge. We knew they're important for things like putting a cell phone tower in. I know we talked about centroid and circumcenter and orthocenter and centroid and a bunch of different ones. So I just kind of wanted you to bring you back to that was one of the way we used it, but just knowing the distance from the middle of something to the edge of that circular radius, or that circle with a radius from the center. So we'll just do a couple practice of them. And I'm going to bring this handy dandy formula down with me so that I can match it up. So it is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals radius squared. Again, the x stands for the outer part of the circle. The H is the center of the circle. Y is a point on the edge of the circle. K is the center of the circle. And the radius. And note that these are subtraction signs, because when you're finding the distance between numbers, you do one minus the other. So they just want to start us out by finding the center and the radius of each circle. So this one's a little tricky. X squared plus y squared. Basically, x squared is the same as x minus 0 squared, and y squared is the same as y minus 0 squared. And then 36 is the same as 6 squared. So the center is 0, 0, and the radius would be 6. Just matching it up with that formula. Let's move our formula over and try it with this one. This one follows the pattern pretty nicely. It looks like the center is 2, 7, that's the H and the K. 2, 7 is the center. And then 49 is the same as 7 squared, so 7 is the radius. So the minus sign is, part of the equation. So the center there is 2. What if, however, let's say, I'm going to change this problem on you a little bit. What if this was the equation right here? There's a plus sign there. We would rewrite it. That's the same. A plus sign is the same as x minus negative 2. So if it was written like that, this is a little bit different of a problem. Then the center would be negative 2, 7. And then the radius would still be 7 from 49. So 7 times 7 is 49. So just watch, because the equation has a minus sign in it, if there's a plus sign, it's like the H is negative, or if there isn't one, then you just go with whatever is next to it. So kind of be careful on that. Email me if you have questions. But if it's x minus 2, then 2 would be the center. If it's x plus 2, then negative 2 would be the center of that circle. So watch out for that. Let's bring this handy dandy formula down with us just in case we need it. Okay, now they want us to write the equation of the circle. So I'm going to use this formula, my modified distance formula, and they told me the center was negative 2, so that's my H. And the y part of the center is negative 5, and then the radius is square root of 2. That is your answer, but it looks kind of not neat to me, so I like to write that minus a negative turns into a plus, and minus a negative turns into a plus, and the square root of 2 squared is just the number 2. So that is your equation for the circle, or the distance from the center to the edge. We'll try it again here. So our center is 5, 3, so 5 for the H and 3 for the K, and then the radius is 2. Oops. So I didn't have any negatives. I needed to make positives, so I'm going to keep that, but I am going to rewrite 2 squared as the number 4. And that is the distance. There are a lot trickier ones of these, but because of time, I just really wanted to get the basic formula in there for you. So we'll try a couple more, but I cut out a lot of the more challenging problems. I just wanted you guys to kind of see the basics. So this one just wants us to write our formula, but they didn't give us the info. So we still have this, but we got to find the radius and the center on our own. So this center, if they didn't do the little dot, I just kind of look there, look here, and I cut it in half. But they did give us this dot. So our center is 0, 0. And then our radius, I like to go to either the top, the right, the bottom, or the left, because because it's kind of hard to count when you're going sideways like this. So that's 1, 2. That's 2 as well. 2 and 2. So our radius is 2. Then I just plug it in. 0, 0, and then 2 squared. Again, you could leave it like this. I just like to make it look a little neater. X minus 0, you could just rewrite as x squared. Y minus 0, you could just rewrite as y squared. And 2 squared, you could rewrite as 4. So that is the distance from the center to the edge of that circle. Try a couple more. This next one, let's see, our center is right here. It is left 3 and up 3. So -3 to the left, I almost forgot that, and then up 3. And then the radius looks like it's 1 in every direction. So then I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. X minus -3, because it was -3 in the x direction. And then y minus 3, because it was 3 in the y direction. And then our radius was 1. So I'm going to fix that up. Minus and negative becomes positive. And when you square 1, you just get the number 1. So it's not that I took the squared away. I just did 1 times 1, which equals 1. So there you have that one. Okay, last one. This one's pretty big. So I'm going to look at my center. My center is 0, 3. So make sure you, x is left and right and y is up and down. Okay, and then my radius, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. It's 4 in every direction. So I'm going to fill that in. X minus 0 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 4 squared. X minus 0 is just x squared. Y minus 3 squared. And then 4 squared is 16. And that is the equation for the distance from the center to the edge of the circle. Let's just graph a couple of these and then we'll be done. There were a lot more to these notes originally, but I just wanted to kind of show you some of the basics of the equation for the distance of a circle. So first, let's figure out what the radius is and the center of the circle. So this x squared plus y squared, it's like I had x minus 0 in there because there was nothing. The x minus 0 is the same as that. And then 25 would be the same as 5 squared. So our center would be 0, 0, and our radius would be 5. So I'm going to go to 0, 0. And then the best way to draw this is I just count up 5, over 5, down 5, and to the other side 5. And the notability is super nice because that was my circle, and then boom, it makes it beautiful for me. And I kind of try to make sure it hits. And there you go. You have the graph of the circle. So sometimes don't try to count diagonally because that's going to throw you off a little bit. I just go to the top, to the right, to the bottom, and to the left. And that seems to be the easiest way. Last one. Oh, this is our last problem together. The center would be that h is 3. So the center there is 3, not -3, because it's what goes in for the h. The k is 5. So it's 3, 5, and then the radius would have to be 3 because 3 squared gives you 9. Again, if this was a plus sign, I would have had to write -5 in order to make that a plus, and so my center would have been at -5, but they did not give us that. They gave us the minus sign. So here we go, 3 over 3 up 5. That's my center. And then a radius of 3. So I counted up 3, over 3, down 3, and that way 3. And then make a circle. And there you have it. So I guess the biggest thing to take away is if you have an equation like this, this plus right here is the same as x minus -3. And that way it can match up with your formula. So the h would be -3 in that case. Whereas like here, the k is just 2 because the minus sign matches. So let me know if you have any questions on that. And that is all. That is our last lesson of the year. You guys have to come back and visit my room next year. Let me know if you guys have any questions. We'll review and take a test in the next couple days. And that's all she wrote. Have a great day. This is your homework for tonight. Talk to you later. Bye.